So at this time, I'd like to ask for a motion to return from executive session per NMSA 10-15-1H-2.
So I make a motion to return from executive session per NMSA 10-15-1H-2. In the executive session, no decisions were made. The following individuals were in the executive session for item B, complaint for New Mexico whistleblower violation, and item C, tort claim. Mike and Melissa Maloney was Mayor Pro Tem Howe, Councilor Crane, Mayor Lindsay, Councilor Weeks, Councilor Humbert, Manager Weir, and Santos Martinez. In the room for items A, Department of Workforce Solutions, discrimination investigation, and summons for State Ethics Commission was Mayor Pro Tem Howe, Councilor Crane, Mayor Lindsay, Councilor Weeks, Councilor Humbert, and Manager Brett Weir.
Can I get a second?
I'll second.
Roll call vote. Manager
Aye.
Councilman Crane.
Aye.
Councilman Weeks.
Aye.
Councilman Humphrey.
Aye.
We return. And at this time, that's for Manager Weir, if he has anything to report.
Mr. Mayor, no, I think my staff did a good job of reporting on the progress that we're making. We are making significant progress. I will tell you that I anticipate the work on our audit starting within the next 2 weeks for FY24. I am going to be looking to hire a consultant so we've used BB&H to do our trial balance, to prep our trial balance. Unfortunately, we don't have staff with extensive experience in preparing a trial balance for audits. And the accounting firms that we've used to help us with that in the past, they're not really geared towards teaching people how to do that. They just want to do the work and they're much too busy. And I have found a consultant that I will be looking to contract to actually come in on site, train our staff to do and help develop the policies and procedures for preparing our trial balance for audit. So I've had one brief conversation with this individual. This individual is used by both the county and the village of Eagle Nest. She's a CPA. She was the finance director for Lee County for 15 years. And she's now in a consulting business where she helps small municipalities, primarily in the state of New Mexico, with issues like educating people. So her function not only is to do the work, but also to train people how to do the work. And so that sounds like something I think would highly benefit the village. So we're going to be pursuing that. And we are going to also included in the budget is a new events planner for the tourism department. This person, our goal is to work to where we're going to have 10 events sponsored by the village a year. Again, number one, events are needed in a tourist economy like we have. And relying on the public to do events has been hit and miss. And I think that with the revenue that we have in the lodgers tax and the ability for the village to put on their own events, I think that is a good use of lodgers tax funds in the future. And so we're doing that. And we also will be bringing in a part-time person. One of the initiatives that I've assigned Clerk Lyra is by June 30th of next year, I want the village to be paperless. so that we actually have processes in place that eliminate the need for paper. One of the challenges that we've identified in accomplishing that is getting the historical documents scanned in. And the reason that's a challenge, there's companies that'll come out and do it, but I'll be frank, our historical documents are not well organized, to say the least. And it's very hard to move paper to electronic documents when the documents aren't well organized. So this part-time person their primary function is going to be initially to organize the documents throughout the village so that we can convert them into an electronic format. The other thing that we're thinking about utilizing this person for is as a backup for the clerk position, training them to be a backup. Most of our staff have two jobs that they're holding or two different responsibilities. Some of them more than that. And because of that, there wasn't a good candidate for the backup clerk because that does require a lot of training. And we feel like this part-time person would be able to fill that role because our clerk will be here predominantly doing most of the clerk work, but we'll have somebody trained. So when the clerk goes on vacation, they can step in and not have to actually do that position often, but have the knowledge to do it when our primary clerk is on vacation. So we think that's a good combination for that position. And other than that, I will tell you that we had an offer accepted by a police officer. So for the first time, and I don't know how long, other than maybe a short stint here or there, I think we're fully staffed in our police department. I think the police chief may have already informed you in a previous meeting, but we had 6 applicants. We went from 5 months with no applicant. Well, maybe one person did apply that had no qualifications to within a month of Chief Hobrecht being here, having 6 applicants and fully staffed the police department. One thing we are exploring, I just want to make you aware of is 2 of the applicants were highly qualified and would have been good police officers for the Village of Angel Fire. And we're trying to find money within the budget to try and come to council for approval to add a 7th police officer. In order to do primary coverage where you have at least 2 officers on duty at all time, we would need 7. And it is something that I'm advocating for on behalf of the police department because when you only have 1 officer on duty, scheduled duty, a lot of times you have no officers because the person has to transport to jail, they have to go to court, whatever they have to do. We're spending quite a bit of money on overtime right now and on-call pay for our police force. And I think a 7th officer could be substantially paid by elimination and on-call and overtime. And but we need a little more money from other places to help make that work, and we're trying to figure out what that is. But I do anticipate within the next month or so coming back to council and asking to add that 7th police officer.
I mean, I'm sure they would, and I'd support either way, but obviously if we had a 7th, that's going to cut into some overtime pay and on-call pay for the other officers. Is that supported by all those other officers losing that overtime and on-call pay?
It is Councilman Crane, it is a concern by some of the police officers, but I think Chief Hobrecht has a good relationship with his staff, and you know, he's been able to get them on board with this, with going forward with this.
And I guess from a safety standpoint, it would be significant.
So any other questions on the police force? In order to keep money budgets down, I will tell you one thing we're looking to do is the new vehicle, that we have for the administration here at this building. I would be swapping that for a used vehicle and giving the new vehicle to the police force for that 7th officer, so we don't have to pay for a whole new vehicle. Not only that, vehicles, and we're experiencing this at the county, when they order new vehicles, it can take up to 2 years in order to get a vehicle fully, with all the equipment needed and everything, before you put it in circulation, just because vehicles are hard to get hold of, the right vehicles. So, that is something we're looking to do. As far as the, fire department goes, we did hire a new PRN paramedic. She's actually working several shifts and doing good work for our community. We did swear in the new fire chief, even though he doesn't start until the 29th. And that we will have once he starts on the 29th, as technically he'll start as an interim, because on the 30th we will have another meeting, and in that meeting, which is next Tuesday, and in that meeting we will ask the council to approve his appointment. I wanted him here to be able to take part in that. As you may know, he lives in Albuquerque, and I talked to him when he swore him in, and they were very close to making an offer on a house here in Angel Fire. So hopefully he'll be living here in the not too distant future. You know how long it takes for a house to close. But I did want him here for the official approval, and we were having challenges with schedules. He couldn't make it tonight.
So he's an at-will employee?
He will be an at-will employee. As fire chief, that's correct.
Then interim chief Brittenell has agreed to stay on, as a paramedic, and lieutenant.
Yeah, so we have offered Chief Brittenell to stay on in one of our open paramedic lieutenant positions. And he's accepted that position. So starting 29th, which is Monday, he will go from chief down to lieutenant. And we needed that because he's a paramedic, and what we need is paramedics. We have 2 open positions for paramedics that still need to be filled even after Chief Brittenell accepts the lieutenant position.
This meeting next Tuesday, what time is it?
So I'm think we sent out invitations.
They went out today.
Tuesday,
I know we have a work session meeting at 3.
yes,
And then we're gonna have a
Council meeting to follow at 5 or 5:30.
5:30, I think.
So right now, it's
5:30.
scheduled.
3 o'clock for the work session, 5:30 for a council meeting.
Okay, I may be late for the work session.
And right now we have 2 items on that council meeting,
3 now,
3 now.
because of the legal counsel.
Well, I was thinking the fire chief and legal counsel.
And the lease.
And the
And the
lease,
lease.
yeah.
One request, I'm all for going paperless. I'm happy to bring my laptop. If we could get some plugs under here, because I've tried to plug it in and that's the closest one. So if there's a way to run a cord. Plugs up. Yeah, something.
Okay, that's a good recommendation. I'll look into that.
Yeah.
I will tell you that we have an opportunity to hire a joint utility supervisor, which is over water and wastewater. The person interviewed, he asked for more money than we had budgeted to spend. We have made a counter offer. There is high hope that that person will accept the counter offer, and we hope to have that. Director Epler is he's a great hire. He's doing great service for this community, but he's been working hard, almost too hard. And I will tell you, we have other projects that we are looking to do, like the new fire station, the new event center we're talking about, a new solid waste drop-off location, and some other things. And he does need to be involved, even though it's not directly his department, because all these new buildings involve infrastructure. He needs to be involved in those processes. And right now, he's not able to, because he's just spending too much time fixing water mains and sewage pipes. And trying to get road material laid. So I've also asked him, at first we were holding off on hiring, even though it is budgeted, we were holding off on hiring a road superintendent. But realizing that these other projects are lagging behind because we need his assistance in the planning process. I directed him to go ahead and hire, to list and try and hire a road superintendent. Which again, was in the budget, it's been in the budget since before we were elected. We never took it out of the budget, but we were just holding off on hiring it. But I really need Director Epler acting more from a managerial and a planning perspective and not so much out there, you know, behind the wheel of a backhoe or whatever. The tourism department is coming out with a new newsletter. Director Ralph has been requested to start doing a monthly newsletter. That's phase one of our new PR campaign. We want to start talking about what we're doing. We feel like we're not getting the message out good enough about all the good work that we're doing. And so that first one, I got the first sample of it today. It'll be going out in our utility bills next week. It's going to focus on roads and it's going to focus on tourism on this one. But and a little bit on just to give people an update on what's going on here at the building. But every month we will be doing a new newsletter that's talking about things. I want him out interviewing. I want him interviewing you guys, our staff, to talk about what's going on, your ideas and perspective on how the council, the village can act to make things better for our community. And eventually this will evolve. We'll maintain a newsletter, but the plan is to evolve into a podcast where we're doing a monthly or maybe a bi-weekly podcast where Director Ralph will actually be interviewing people on different aspects of things going on at the village to try and, again, educate the community on all the work they're doing. You know, we do get a lot of, there are several negative people who utilize Facebook as a tool to try and spread their ill will. And I think it's time for us we're doing a lot of good things. I mean, I know a lot of us are so involved in the work, maybe we're not tooting our own horns enough, but I mean, it's pretty spectacular just where we've come in the finance department alone. But what we've accomplished in the streets department, what we've accomplished, you know, the new wireless water meters are kicking off at the next week, I think, no, week after next. We already had our rollout meeting, and I mean, there's a lot of good things going on here. And I think it's time for the community to understand all the good work that we're doing. So that's going to be a big thing that's going to be rolling out here soon. I will tell you this, I really feel like we have a solid team of leadership here. I will tell you that, again, I think that the culture, the negative culture, the backbiting, I don't think it's 100% eliminated, but I'd say virtually eliminated and turned around. And now we have people calling each other and asking, hey, how can I help? People not in it just for themselves, but are actually in it for the community. And to me, if once we see this continue, I think that in itself will be our greatest accomplishment and our greatest legacy. Is just changing the culture of the village into a culture of supporting our residents as opposed to just looking out for ourselves. So I saw Mayor Lindsay grab the gavel, so I'll call that.
Well, I appreciate the update. We are doing a bunch of wonderful things. Thanks to everybody for coming tonight. This meeting is adjourned.